Don't call it a comeback, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on the channel where I, your friend Jan, reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it, more importantly, and it is more important, asking for yours, friends, the Chelsea community, the collective fan opinion. Today, Timo Werner off. Is him and Lukaku out in the same window, the two highest earners, I believe, maybe alongside N'Golo Kante. The Jules Kounde saga goes on. Chelsea looking at centre-back alternatives and the situation with Thomas Tuchel. Simon Johnson speaking on this a little bit. I'm going to paraphrase what he has to say. And more signings to come, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be okay. Settle in, get comfortable. Please do consider dropping a like to support the show, the channel. There's a click of a button. Why wouldn't you want to do that, friend? You're welcome to subscribe if you want to. But, if you do choose to subscribe, make sure you hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Yeah. Alright, mate, let's get into it. Let's start off with Fabrizio Romano uploading a video yesterday talking about Jules Kounde. Important times. I'm not going to try and do his accent. Maybe that's a little bit offensive. Somehow, Xavi's convinced Kounde to join Barcelona. I am convinced over in Catalan land they're drugging their own players. This is satire, by the way, and prospective players, because everyone's taking half wages, everyone's owed wages, everyone's choosing to go over there despite them being in financial danger, not being able to register players and selling off their future to buy their now, buying older players like Aubameyang, Lewandowski, Alonso, Azpilicueta, etc. What the hell is going on? Why wouldn't you want to come to the Premier League, the best competition, the best league in the world, London, the best city in the UK, to a team that's only just recently won the Champions League, got to many a final, and is performing very well with a good coach? Why? I mean, fair play, man. Barcelona fans must be both happy and worried. Happy because they're getting shiny new toys and players are flocking towards the Spotify Camp Nou. But at the same time, the more cerebral, lucid football fans will be looking with a magnifying glass closer at their club and going, you know what, mate? This is pretty fucked. Again, I shouldn't swear. I don't usually swear on this channel. I do apologise for those of you listening or watching with your youngsters. I know some of you do that. I didn't say that. Anyway, we're going to talk about what's going on. So he spoke about that. Chelsea. He also confirmed Chelsea have tried to hijack Musiala, the player that we spoke about in yesterday's video. So good to hear Fabrizio Romano backing up the stories that we report on or react on here on the channel, though the player and agent do seem to be committed to his move to Paris Saint-Germain. But the interesting thing is that Fabrizio Romano reiterated in the story is that Chelsea did indeed offer Timo Werner in a loan. So it wouldn't have been what we speculated yesterday with plush cash. It would be a loan with Timo Werner to get the deal done. Fabrizio Romano reiterated that he will go to PSG, this player, but the Leipzig defender. But it is testament to Chelsea willing to let Timo Werner go this summer transfer window. And that makes sense. He's been good for us. Look, if he goes, we'll pour one out for Timo Werner. We'll talk about his good contributions, his good vibes, his good songs. But I get it. If he's not aligning with Tuchel does seem pretty angry recently. He gets paid so much money at Chelsea. It's not smart. So does Romelu Lukaku. Getting them both out in the transfer window for different reasons, but also similar reasons, would probably be a very good thing. It's been reported by certain media outlets that Chelsea have given up on Jules Kounde. I don't think that's 100%, but the fact how they're looking at Musiala, other players, I think Chelsea are considering alternatives. And of course, you've got Fabrizio Romano now saying that he just wants to go to Barcelona. He's joined the Rafinha crew. It's an L for us. It stings in many ways. Chelsea fans, certainly with an online presence, are not enjoying the feelings with Barcelona, and of course now the Barcelona fans going, and their captain wants to join us as well. Not only are we taking their target, their captain wants to join. I think context, of course, is required, and things will change as the season starts and football projects develop. But of course, Cesar Azpilicueta is a Chelsea legend. He's our captain. He's played for us for 10 years, but the truth is, he's been off the boil for at least 12, 18 months now. And that's the player they're buying. I hope he plays well for them. I hope he plays well for Spain. For him personally. But for Chelsea, kind of makes sense. So, they'll see that soon enough. So, for Juventus are keen on signing the aforementioned Timo Werner. And he could actually leave this summer. I mean, the fact how Chelsea are offering him to Leipzig on loan is testament he could go. To Juventus, he'd probably suit Juventus. I don't know. Is he kind of similar to Alvaro Morata? And I don't mean a striker who missed loads of chances at Chelsea. Because, yes, they certainly do a line on that. But I think maybe a little bit more of a mobile striker running in behind, likes to play into spaces. We'll have to see what happens there. With Fabrizio Romano, he also has confirmed that Barcelona's bid for Jules Kounde is actually lower than what Chelsea have bid for him, which if the player says, look, I just want to go to Barcelona now. If he says, let's say I want to go to Barcelona, not Chelsea, and they probably will have to just sell him this summer. They might just take less money. In a way, I would kind of take pleasure out of that. Not him going to Barcelona, but Sevilla not getting the money they wanted, especially after stitching us up, last summer when they moved the goalposts and they just decided to charge loads of more money. Now, I won't take any pleasure out of Barcelona getting a good deal, a player we wanted, but I'll take some respite out of Sevilla getting stung after them, playing hard ball. No one wants that. Cesar Azpilicueta really wants to join Barcelona. I think Thomas Tuchel's recent comments when he was really angry kind of was saying that without, saying players' names. I think both Alonso and Azpilicueta want to go. Azpi, I think, has been professional, but I think he's like, look, man, my time has come. I've done everything here. This is my opportunity. Let me go. And there's that classic, if you love him, let him go. I think it will happen. Of course, Thomas Tuchel came out and says maybe I'll block the move to piss off Barca, but I don't think he'd do that. Especially after, when he gets back from, they are back from America, less emotional, sitting down with him, has a conversation, he'll probably be like, yeah, all right, off you go, mate. Let's get a couple of million for you and let's just buy a new defender. So, I do want to talk about Thomas Tuchel generally. Quickly as well, this is from @Philip Sport, citing Football Italia, that Napoli have been in discussions with Chelsea for a move for, drumroll please, Kepa Arrizabalaga. According to Alfredo Padula, hot days, #hot days, throwback. However, the player's salary would be a sticking point. Of course, Kepa's on a big salary, more than Edouard Mendy, who's our number one. We bought Kepa for 71 million. We signed him on a 7-year deal. We put him on big Chelsea number one wages. Thibaut Courtois replacement, recently won the Premier League wages, Chelsea, etc. Kepa has been good in terms of his professional attitude since his demise. But yeah, it will be difficult if he signs a new long-term deal, and maybe he'll lower his wage demands and then he could go to a Napoli or a Lazio, Sarri reunion. I know they needed a first-team goalkeeper, and despite that, that controversy at Wembley when he didn't come off, Sarri does quite like Kepa apparently. So that's interesting. We will see what happens with Kepa Arrizabalaga. But, if we get the wages of Kepa, Lukaku, and of course Timo Werner off the books in this summer transfer window, huge success in outgoings already, even if that's not, shifting the proverbial dead wood, because, none of those players are dead wood, regardless of your opinion on Timo Werner and Lukaku. He misses loads of chances. Lukaku's a snake or whatever. Fine, have your opinions, but they're both, really, they're valued as assets. They're not deadwood. They're not whatever, your Batshuayis and your Barclays and stuff like that. So, that wouldn't be moving deadwood, but it would be important to get them off the books. And of course, man, people are losing their minds recently online, on social media, as, people do. Chelsea are getting people off the books. They're making moves. Yeah, we look crap in pre-season on the pitch, but that's another thing. In terms of transfers, Koulibaly and Raheem Sterling, for the money we got them, is world-class business. is excellent, with the intention of buying more. And by the way, we're trying to buy more. We're not like out there twiddling our thumbs. We've got some weird, peculiar romance with Barcelona who keep nicking players. Chelsea are trying. And they will sign more players on top of the 2 world-class players. And they will get people out that they need to get out. Everything's gonna be alright. No Lukaku, no cry. No Lukaku, no cry. Chelsea are looking at centre-backs. We're going to talk about not Cy Phillips. I'm going to read a tweet from Cy Phillips, but we'll talk about Simon Johnson's opinion and stance on Tuchel, which is quite interesting in just a moment. Graham Bailey saying among the alternatives for Jules Kounde being considered by Chelsea are Villarreal's Paul Torres, which it's kind of like no longer in vogue, Paul Torres, or Pau Torres. He's, I don't think any of us would probably have him at the top of the list anymore. Inter Milan's Skriniar, which, yes, would be a very good acquisition, of course, also wanted by Paris Saint-Germain, but I think the price for him is too much at the moment. RB Leipzig's Joško Gvardiol, and Bayern Munich duo Upamecano and Benjamin Pavard. So, on the top of that list for me would be Joško Gvardiol, the Croatian defender. I believe he's left-footed. He's really good at dribbling. We've spoken about him before. We've done a profile on him here on the channel. We looked at his scouting report. Very, 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 very impressive. Ball-carrying, dribbly boy. Croatian, mates with Kovacic, generally quite hard players. Left-footed, very expensive from RB Leipzig. They were at like 80 million euros expensive. Very, 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 very expensive. But we've got that wild card Timo Werner Leipzig return option reverse Uno card. Is that worth anything in this deal? I don't know. But personally, if Chelsea somehow sign Koulibaly, move him on the right, Gvardiol, move him on the left, Thiago Silva in the middle, who the hell is Jules Kounde? What's happening? I just realised I've broken the... Okay, there we go. I broke the transition there. I didn't know you could pause it. Was that me pausing it? Hey, look, you can pause it. Dial up internet. All right, we are going to move on. Let's talk about what Simon Johnson of The Athletic has spoken about. He's done an article, and I'm not actually going to read it because I heard him speak about this on an Athletic podcast, and he's basically reiterating this assertion and opinion that I want to speak to you guys about. Of course, he's angry. He spoke after the Arsenal loss and said he can't guarantee that we're ready. It's some really, really pointed words about, look, we can't attack well because we've got the same players. We've got players that don't want to be here, which would kind of be the aforementioned Spanish fullbacks in Azpilicueta and Alonso. Little touch of the Timo Werners too, baby girl. And of course, he's annoyed. Chelsea, pinch of salt with that. With that result, Chelsea had done a lot of travelling. It was a dysfunctional 11. Make what you will of that. Maybe he had an inclination to play them, to shop window them, to try and get them out the door. Maybe he spoke about, we don't know what's happened. In an ideal world, leave them all at home, just play the youth, etc., etc., etc. But that didn't happen for one reason or another. And he said he can't guarantee that he'll be ready for the start of the season. Now, Simon Johnson cites that Chelsea have been off the boil since the end of last season. The last kind of good performance, last sort of presence of good Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea was away in the Bernabeu when we were winning 3-0 and then, with 8 minutes to go, whatever the hell it was, and then obviously we just slipped and only just lost out. And then Chelsea's season tailed off. Fizzled off as it does in the league, dismal form, and they were really, really poor until the end of the season because we sort of couldn't not qualify for top 4, even though we tried wobbled for a little while, and we were out despite reaching, both domestic finals, winning the Club World Cup, winning the Super Cup, doing really well away in that Champions League Bernabeu game. Despite all that, we were just fizzling out, and there was the feeling of just dysfunction and classic bad Chelsea until the end of the season. Now, Thomas Tuchel, I think what Simon Johnson's inferring here is that his opinion like that has been transferred into this preseason, and he's feeling pretty crappy about it. Now, a lot of people criticise Tuchel for taking this sort of emotional stance. Sure, it's not ideal. You want to always put on a brave face, but I kind of like it. And a really important thing to note here is Johnson is saying Tuchel wants to catch up now with City and Liverpool, or as quickly as possible. And that might sound good to everyone, and yes, great. It's simply not realistic. Thomas Tuchel has managed Chelsea for 18 months, and he's done really well. Of course, he's won the freaking Champions League. But just remember that. The second European Cup with an amazing run. An amazing run. Think of all the teams we had to beat. That Porto team that knocked out Juventus. The champions of Spain, Atletico Madrid. The Real Madrid, the best team in the European Cup's history. The champions of England, the Premier League, Man City. Like, it was serious stuff. Amazing effort. And then to win the Super Cup, Club World Cup, reach 3-4 finals, or whatever it was. But it's not realistic. But that's kind of tainted where we are. Because we have got a legacy of 5 different managers in terms of the squad, in terms of not really knowing what philosophy and ethos we have, because he was dropped into Chelsea against that Wolves team and just decided to play it back free because of the personnel he had, and then sort of felt obligated to carry on with it because we won the Champions League with it. Don't really know where we are. Do we do this? Do we do that? And the truth is, he's made 3 signings for Chelsea, and 2 of them have been in this pre-season, and they're yet to play a competitive game. And as of course, if you don't count Marcus Bettinelli and the Sal loan, he signed Lukaku, which an unexpected drama came of his interview and all sorts. You couldn't have foreseen that. And he signed, of course, Raheem Sterling and Kalidou Koulibaly, who, one would assume off the bat is very smart business and should both thrive and suit his ideas better. It's not enough. Both Guardiola and Klopp have been at their respective teams for years and years and years, and their squads are entirely theirs. And they both started slow, and they had to catch up. Thomas Tuchel started fast, and then he almost had his slow bit afterwards. Look, man, Chelsea should be all in with Thomas Tuchel. A lot of people are pissed off, understandably, about the preseason, and they do have concerns about his, ability to attack. But in terms of the full package, creating a defense that doesn't give up chances when you're functioning right as a squad, and being a face for the club and understanding how football works and being the manager at the right time of his career, the right time of his life. You don't get better than Tuchel for Chelsea. You don't. Chelsea, and he's not when we score a lot of goals, he's not wow, goals. He's yeah, we probably could have scored some more as well. He's not a 1-0 stink it up kind of coach. He wants better, and he wants his own players now, and he deserves it. So we need to be patient as Chelsea fans. I know that's not sexy and fun as a football fan, but I wanted to reflect on that. It's pretty much, I urge you to go check out Simon Johnson's piece on The Athletic. I haven't, just go search out. I haven't read anything from it, so it'll be worth you going to see. Chelsea could sign Gvardiol. Chelsea could sign another superstar centre-back and an attacker still. There's a lot going on. Okay, that's not working. Where's my transition? There it is. There's a lot going on. Some technical difficulties today here in the Stamford Bridge studio. I'm going to wind it in. It's been a long video, so thank you for liking the video. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the sweet, sweet bell, baby girl. And yeah, keep it locked, man, because I'll be back very soon. Peace.